Hey guys, it's Zoom the TBT tonight with Charge and Hayner. We welcome a special guest, Tim Scarborough, lead analyst with Stadium, and also courtesy of the TBT on ESPN. Tim, how you doing?
I'm good, fellas. How you guys doing?
Well, yeah, we're doing real good tonight. Really appreciate you jumping on. So you just finished off your TBT 2020 experience. So how many games did you call this year?
I did 4, and normally, I say normally because this is definitely a year that is not normal. But I did 14 or 15. I did 14 games last year. Me and Matt Martucci, we did 2 regions, and then we also did the dunk contest. So I did 15 events last year.
You did the dunk contest. That's nice.
That's one of my questions. We'll talk about the dunk contest a little later. Me and Hayner are on the same side of if we like this dunk contest or not. So we'll double back there. But sticking with you, TBT 2020 has been very unique. And then one of the things I found real unique was that you guys actually had to call the games remotely this year. So what kind of challenges does that present versus being in arena?
Well, fortunately, both Matt and I have done remote games. I can't remember what Matt did, but I did some games in the Cayman Islands Classic. So I get this call of like, hey, I'm going to the Cayman Islands. I'm telling my wife, and they're like, no, you're going to Kansas City, Kansas. So it was Doug Gottlieb, me, and Noah Kozlov, just the 3 of us. So we had a 3-man crew, and we rotated. We had to do 12 games in 3 days. And Gottlieb, who was an analyst like me, he slid over to the play-by-play chair, and he and I worked a couple of games together. So that was a lot of fun. So we had a Kristen Balboni, who's a good friend of mine and worked at Stadium. Now she's with the Carolina Panthers. She was our sideline reporter, and she got to go to the Cayman Islands. So I was very jealous.
The Jen Hale of the Cayman Islands tournament.
Yeah, she was the Jen Hale of the Cayman Islands, exactly.
That's awesome. And you get to hang out in fabulous Kansas City. Hopefully you ate some good barbecue, at least, if you were there.
Man, did we? Oh, my God. That was the highlight of the trip for sure.
Exactly.
I was just in Kansas City the summer or 2 ago, and it was funny because, like, I'm a vegetarian now, but, I mean, the barbecue even then made me, like, rethink my decisions in life at that point because it's so historically good, supposedly.
It's all talked up, right? That's all you ever hear about. It did not disappoint. I was like, you guys talk this up so much, I don't think I'm going to like it. And I was like, man, you undersold it, is what I told him at the end.
That's the best way. When people set the expectations so
and it
high,
gets met.
There's just no way. It just makes it
all
the better.
I'm from Philadelphia, so I'm a cheesesteak connoisseur. And when people go to Philly, I send them to the right place to go, and they're always like, oh, that was great. So
what's the right place now?
My place is D'Alessandro's. It's in
D'Alessandro's.
Manioc, Roxborough area. Yeah.
Okay. You a Philly guy, Charge?
What's that? No. I was born and raised in the Buffalo, New York area, and
that's right.
But Philadelphia. Been there for work a couple times, but we went to the touristy spots every time we get a cheesecake. I can't remember the name of it, but they're like
Pat's
everybody talked to it. Yeah, yes. Gino's and Pat's, one of those two, and it's like, you can't go there. Are you crazy? I'm like, that's all I know. You go to a cheesesteak, and that's where it's going to take
Gino's and Pat's. They're good people. but it's for the tourists, and they make a whole lot of money because that line is always wrapped around the block.
Oh, yeah, it was.
The embedded neighborhoods if you want to get a good cheesesteak.
I will say that's a great lead into my question, since because you're talking about like it's for the tourists versus what people who know. And this is actually, you cover the TBT for ESPN. Like, this is the tournament for basketball guys that know what's up. This is the sort of on the down low, the connoisseurs, the junkies basketball, the next level, the thing for people who need it. So what do people who are casual fans, just this now knowing that's opening up sports again for the first time in this crisis, how has it been interesting for you covering something that used to be kind of a niche and now has jumped into the mainstream due to the conditions we're under?
Well, it's been surreal, really, because, I feel fortunate because I'm not a full-time ESPN guy. They have Dan Dockich. Yet. They have Dockich. They have Seth Greenberg and Fran Fraschilla, who I think is just top-notch in terms of TBT because he knows the international game like no one else. So he's able to tell you what those guys are doing overseas. But when they kind of truncated the tournament, I was like, man, I'm telling everybody I'm not going to do it. Because I just assumed I wasn't. And then John Mugar asked me if I wanted to do it. And I said, I think so. I think so.
Mhm.
and at the time, I kind of knew that all the games were going to be on ESPN, like the
Mhm.
over the air network, and so I was pumped about that. What I wasn't pumped about was leaving my bunker because I hadn't left since March.
Oh,
So I'll tell you guys the
oh.
story. So in March, so my wife is like COVID-19. The On a scale of 1 to 10, she's a 20 in terms of. Let's put it this way, guys. I got back from Indy yesterday. I have not hugged or touched or kissed my wife or children. I am stuck in my office here, and I sleep in the guest room.
Now, to be
I haven't
fair,
do that for 14
I
days.
haven't hugged or kissed my girlfriend in a while, but I think it's just because she hates me now and sick of me just being so close to each
That's
other.
a whole nother story, Andrew.
He's followed TBT too much. Yeah, so she probably had your clothes in the garage, stripped down before you come in the house. You're not coming in with those clothes. We're gonna
I had
watch
to do
them.
all that. Yeah.
Wash them, you're
Go through
burning them.
decontamination. Yeah. But yeah. So I was in Frisco, Texas, when all this went down.
Oh,
I was
Frisco,
calling the Conference
yeah.
USA tournament, and I was about to get on the air, and me and Noah Kozlov, we were scheduled to do 4 games that day,
Mhm.
and I was doing 2 with him, and I was going to do 2 with Chris Hassel from CBS, and Hassel never made it to Frisco.
Yeah.
He got stuck in Miami or Fort Lauderdale because New York CBS had shut down, and they threw all the CBS stuff down there, and he had to be on the air for 12 hours, and so he couldn't get there. Then his agent told him he probably shouldn't go because they were going to shut everything down. And by 11 o'clock that morning Central, they shut it all down,
That
man.
was so weird.
It was very surreal.
I was getting a bagel in downtown, not downtown Brooklyn, like Midtown Brooklyn. I had a meeting and I was tired, but I'm like, hey, I'm a March Madness junkie. It's my favorite time of the year. I'm a college guy. I love college.
Yeah.
And I'm watching the Big East, like having a bagel, just waiting there going, oh, I can't wait. Tonight Memphis is playing. We're going to get in the tournament. You know the American. And all of a sudden I'm having this bagel, and they're like, oh, we're just shutting it down at halftime. And I'm like, what? Halftime?
Yeah.
It was just wild. What a wild, surreal thing.
Yeah, the American tournament was in Fort Worth, Texas, right? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. We had a shot, but yeah.
When I flew home, the officials on those games were all on my plane. The ones that live in Atlanta, it was like 3 of them, a couple guys I know. So we were all sitting around talking and saying how surreal this is, and like we had to get like plane tickets within 10 minutes and try to get out as soon as possible out of Dallas, and we all got on the same plane. But it was very wild, man. But I don't even remember what your question was. But I think
you probably answered. Basically, what was going on at the end of the world, basically, and you basically
your college March Madness people. I was supposed to be on a work trip to Westchester, New York, to watch the Charge versus the Westchester Knicks. I strategically planned my work trips around the Charge and where they're going to be. So I was supposed to be watching Westchester.
Canton Charge, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
but anyways,
I was trying to get into the G League, and I might still break through there. I want to do some of those games too.
That'd be fun.
No, come on up. Yeah, we got a real good guy. Scott Zarilla calls the Canton Charge games by himself. He flies solo.
By himself. He could use an analyst.
There you go.
Does an amazing job. There you go. You got the college Skyhawks, College Park Skyhawks now. I don't know who calls that.
Yes, sir. That's the job I tried to get. Yeah.
We can take him out and move him along for you, and get you that break. But hey, I want to double back to. I find what you guys do just really fascinating because I'm a kind of a numbers guy. I like to research, and so you call 4 games in a day. I'm sure you probably had days where you called more than 4 games.
2 days. 4 games in 2 days. But normally you're right. I do call 4 in a day, but I did this weekend. It was 4, 2 Saturday, 2 Sunday. But
so how do you keep it all together? Do you do your own research? Do you have other people that feed you all the information? I know you talk about sheets, and so how do you prepare for just 1 game, let alone 4?
Charge, that's a great question. So for TBT, and everywhere is different, but for TBT, they have a staff that gets us so much information. It's just unbelievable. They get us all these spreadsheets, and they get us all these Word documents and pictures of all the guys and all their bio from college and their bio from what they're doing in the pros. Then they go out and get questionnaires, and they ask the guys these specific questions. So that's when we get all those little ancillary stories that we tell interspersed throughout the course of the game. Some of them we know. Some of it we get from calling the people and talking to them. Some of it we get from simply covering the teams. Matt Martucci and I both cover a lot of mid-major ball, Conference USA, Atlantic 10, American, Patriot League. We're all over the place. So we get to cover a lot of guys that are in the TBT. So you get your little stories that way. And then we know some of the players too, personally know them. So we get those stories that way. And then you just try to put it, what I try to do is just kind of put it all in one spot where I can get it. And of course I have a whole bunch of papers, but I have my own personal spreadsheet that I'll put together and I plug in little things and I just kind of go from there. But the reality is once the game starts, your play-by-play guy is going to I'm giving you inside information here, but the play-by-play guy is going to tell all those little stories, at least on my approach. And I'll tell a couple of them, but I want you to know as a fan that I understand how to play basketball. I coached the game at the Division I level. I played at the Division I level, and I understand. I've been doing this for 20 years. So I want you to understand that I know the game and I see why they scored, why they didn't score, what's going on with the adjustments made. But I also want to tell you I know these players. I want to convey that to you. I know this guy's big game. I know he had 43 in college one time. I know he played in Lithuania. I don't even go through all that stuff on TBT, like all the countries they play, because everybody played in 25 countries.
Yeah.
So it's almost pointless to say, he played Lithuania and Spain and Italy and France and Portugal. Yeah, so did everybody else. But, so I stay away from that stuff. But, and then I like to intersperse a lot of pop culture references here and there. I never like to shoe on them in, but if I see something with a name or something, I'll just say whatever comes to my head, and it usually works.
Yeah, no, it's been pretty interesting. Yeah, I mean, covering these games and that's one of the challenges, which is a good lead into another thing, is because one reason the Charge I find this event so fascinating is that this is a very American event in the sense that there are 30 NBA jobs, there are 30 NBA teams with 15 spots. There are 450 NBA jobs you can get total. I am not one of the best 450 architects in the state of New York, much less the country. And I'm a good architect. Right. Let's be very clear. I'm very good at my job, but I'm not top 50 in my state. So the deal is, it's like people always say, oh, an NBA player is slaw, or this guy didn't make the NBA, he's terrible. Like, are you the best 450 thing in your career? No. So is it interesting to you to be able to bring out these guys' stories? Because there's great ball being played in Lithuania, in Brazil, in Spain. Is it great to bring these other stories and let people in America know there's great ball the worldwide?
Oh, it's so much fun. And like anything, like you think about the All-Star game, 24 guys make the All-Star game, but there's probably 40 guys who are good enough to make the All-Star game, right?
Shout out to Mike Conley.
Mike Conley, Memphis.
Never made the All-Star game.
Yeah. Oh, bro, that's true.
Never made it.
He's a prime example. That's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. And it's the same for professional basketball. There's 450 spots. There's probably 800, 700 guys who are good enough, 700, 800 guys in the world. And the rest of those guys go overseas. It's a numbers game. It's not that you're not good enough. It's that you weren't selected. I think it's the same with me getting a full-time position at ESPN. I'm good enough. I just wasn't selected yet.
Yet. Keyword there. Yet.
That is the key word. Hey, let's dive in a little bit into the TBT a little bit more. So prior to the start of TBT 2020, I had signed up to back Challenge ALS. Everything on paper looked great. I was feeling it. And then Mr. Scarborough put out his picks, and he had Challenge ALS. So immediately –
Did you change?
I went back to Golden Eagles before tip-off of the first game. And it was more because where was it playing and lack of depth, blah, blah, blah. But that's
not having Casper
because you talked about it on air too. The Scarborough curse. So 2017 you went Supernova. 2018 you went Bayheims. I can't remember who you picked last year, but they didn't win.
Oh, I picked Overseas Elite.
Overseas Elite, yeah, the 1 year they don't win. That's right.
Right.
And then obviously ALS, we can't call it a first round game, but gets bounced. Yeah. About
their
the
first
Scarborough
game.
Curse. What is going on with this?
But here's your story's almost incomplete a little bit though, Charge. So, and I hate to break it to you, but I made a mistake on the air when I said I picked ALS. I did pick them at home, but the official sheet I submitted to Josh Brown from TBT, he posted it online, so that's what we have to go with because it's the public knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Golden Eagles is who I actually picked.
There you go.
So I had to apologize to the Golden Eagles on Twitter today and said, sorry, I'm the Scarborough jinx is now on you. You guys are on.
You actually.
Yeah, they look too good to be Scarborough jinxes. So you watched the game last night.
So was Overseas Elite.
Oh, yeah, that's true too. That's true too. So, but yeah, the Golden Eagles look fantastic. So
They
I'm
do.
with you. So we're gonna get over this hump. I've never really broken through on this either because I'm one of the overseas elite guys, which I really respect their talent and what they're doing. I just
Yeah.
really want someone else to win. No,
Yeah.
so I always pick against them for that reason. I want, finally Carmen's did, but yeah, I want to see someone like Sideline Cancer, Golden Eagles, someone who hasn't been there before.
Or anyone really. Hey, so Tim, like, what's been your favorite game? You called for this weekend. And what was your favorite game to call? I'm guessing it was probably the sideline win, right? Over Hines?
The what?
Which was the favorite one to call? Yeah.
Sideline versus Hines was definitely the best game. I thought it was the best game of the weekend.
Oh, absolutely.
But I mean, it was two good teams. And it was interesting because Hines got a whole new team. You know, Mike James wasn't there. Kyle Hines wasn't even there because he's overseas playing. Nick Calathis didn't play.
Yeah.
But yet his brother, who coached the Hines team, was able to put a team together, and they really put a pro team together. I mean, they were almost as good, if not better, than last year. So that Sideline Cancer team just came up and just knocked them in the mouth late game. But you remember the game, you watched it. Sideline was down 75-70 with about going into the fourth quarter.
They were down bigger earlier than that too. They were down at 1.13.
Right. They had been down double figures. So at that moment, you could either wilt and go down double digits, or you can come back and try to get, because remember we're playing Elam ending scenario. So you want your hill to be a little less to climb than the other team, right? And by the time we got in the Elam ending scenario, they had actually taken the lead. And I was telling Martucci off the air, I'm like, I think Sideline's going to win this game because of that momentum swing that they did. And sure enough, man, I mean, Marcus Keene was exceptional on Sunday.
Yeah.
And, you know, the crazy thing is, just like football, you run the same play until they stop it.
Absolutely.
So what they were doing was they kept setting the ball screen around the top of the key, and he would turn and get in the paint or dish. But what they started doing late game is setting that screen about 28 feet out. So when he turned the corner, he was still behind the 3-point line.
He's going.
And then he could either and then they kept having to switch, and he gets 6'10" Ethan Happ on him, and that is an absolute mismatch. And he was just making the right decision every time. And he pretty much 29 points, I think 7 assists, just a monster game, man. Really good player.
Yeah, that's a good thing. That adjustment's huge. That adjustment of going high out and spreading them out 28. I didn't even catch that. You're right. They kept going higher out. You're right about that. Sorry, Charles, I interrupted you.
Oh, no, that's fine. Yeah, not taking anything away from Marcus Keene's game, but the number one player from a FanDuel fantasy point standpoint, Brandon Paul, Charger alumni. So we're representing out there doing our thing.
Brandon Paul, really, man, because he took a ton of shots. I know that, and he got tired late in that game. But
that was the thing. Once they lost Alec Peters, I wasn't going to change my pick after, but I knew they were going to be too thin. I knew Sideline was going to take that game, but I had a guy to stick with my Hines because we had Brandon Paul, Gilbert Brown, and Marcus Thornton were all Charge guys at one point, so we had a little mini.
I like the fact that you keep saying you were going to change your pick and you were right. I just eat my losses like a man. You keep saying I changed this, I changed that.
I could show the evidence of some stats I had in the morning, and but I didn't change it officially. But so Tim, talking a little bit about dunk contests. So we know that you've called a couple of dunk contests recently, and Hayner's the dunk expert. He'll tell you his story in a minute. But as far as the posterizing dunk contest, is that something, obviously you called it, so I think I know your answer, but it's really polarizing, almost 50-50. You either love it or you hate it. So where do you sit with the posterizing version of the dunk contest?
Yeah, so TBT has done 2 contests, and I've called both of them. Clap to me. But,
there you go.
But this year, they're not doing it. But the posterization is a unique thing, but it's a TBT thing. You think about TBT is one of the most innovative things in basketball,
absolutely,
probably in the history of basketball. You know, they're not afraid to use hybrid rules. When you think about this, they use a hybrid of college basketball rules, NBA rules, and FIBA rules. Okay, who's doing that? No one. And then they had the temerity to throw in the Elam ending when nobody ever even heard of the Elam ending, right? In the Jamboree in 2017. So now it's nationwide, it's worldwide, it's global. So the TBT dunk contest, they want it to be different too. How do you shake up a dunk contest? Let's make them dunk on each other, okay? So the first year, they made them dunk on each other just in the last round. But last year, they went to the whole dunk contest as dunking on each other, posterization. My personal take on it is I liked it the first way, but I'm glad they tried it. Because what happens is really good dunkers, contest-style dunkers, may not be guys who can post their guys.
No,
And that's what happened.
they're smaller.
The biggest guy, the strongest guy won. Will Coleman from Memphis, right? Will Coleman's not the greatest dunker. Well, he's the strongest dunker. I'll give him that. And he ends up winning the dunk contest because of his sheer strength. So,
yeah, I was actually in Chicago last year for that, and it was interesting because some of those professional dunkers, some of the best dunks, sitting there watching it, even though they were misses, were from those guys trying to do a 360 on top of the guy, and there were some nice looking dunks, even though they didn't go down. So I think they should have scored those a little bit better, but like I said, the important thing is the innovation of it, and how exciting and to do something different for TBT. You're right.
Yeah. So, and going back to that, like the hybrid rules, like what is your favorite rule they've adopted from all these hybrid rules, except in the Elam? Is it the fact that you touch the ball off the rim? I mean, leaving the Elam for the last thing, but like, has it been the sort of the rim rules? Has it been the time frames? Has it been a shorter game with more fouls? What has been the most non-Elam change you found most interesting?
I think all of those are interesting, and clearly Elam is the most impactful and the one I like the most. But excluding the Elam ending, I like the FIBA rule because I think all of basketball should go to it. It's a value judgment call that you can remove, and that's one less thing the referees have to worry about. What we're talking about is when you can touch the ball when it's in the cylinder, as long as it's coming out. But because too many times you see a guy tip dunk it and they say, oh, no, it was in the cylinder. Like, who cares if it was in the cylinder, really? Or, a guy might touch it a little bit while it's in the cylinder. And
it's weak. It's weak.
That's weak. Yeah, I agree. So, I like that. I like that component of the FIBA rule. And they can't do it at the free throw line because they don't have the trapezoid 3 second line. Mm-hmm. And even though a couple of teams were doing it anyway, and the officials were like, hey, fellas, you can't do it. We don't have the trapezoid lane.
Yeah, the rules are interesting. And just to talk about Elam specifically, so obviously I think most of the fans watching the TBT know the general rule. They saw it in the NBA All-Star game this year. And then, the addition this year with if you get fouled on the floor, you get the one shot and take the ball out. So just kind of overall, it sounds like you're an Elam fan. And then if you could talk a little more about the new rule, because that's the newest thing in effect this year. How you like that?
Charge, that new rule to me, it puts a premium on not fouling. I mean, that's a harsh penalty, really. Just committing a floor foul. So think about this. We saw it happen on Sunday. A team, because every point counts in the Elam ending, right? You're trying to get to that target. So giving away free points is a no-no. Yeah. So every time you foul, so you got a guy going for an offensive rebound, he climbs the guy's back. Now you're going down to the other end, giving them a free point, and they get the possession. Whereas in a normal basketball scenario, if you're not in the bonus, that's just you just get the ball. You don't get the free throw. So you get that extra point. So fouling on the floor almost penalizes the defensive team too much. And even an offensive rebounder, it penalizes them. I mean, you got to think twice about going to the glass. You don't want to climb anyone's back because you're giving away free points.
I didn't really think about that. The offensive crash actually does cause. You're right. Because I forgot it's all loose balls now, not just defensive loose balls. That makes sense.
Anything that's not a shot, anything that's not a shooting foul is on the floor, and they're shooting free throws at the other.
Yeah, because we saw that quite a bit in the Hines game, and where it really stuck out. And I like the rule of theory. The one thing that I didn't like about it though is just the speed of the game, because I'm into the game. I'm on my couch or my chair just watching this game. It's like, okay, whistle, let's walk it down the other end. Okay, you guys clear out. It's time to wait for this guy to shoot the free throw. And so to me, I just didn't like to slow down the game a little bit versus the intent is just
I get that.
But overall, I like the
flow. There's so much flow, and that's what Elam ending was designed to do. You guys ever met Nick Elam?
I met him in Chicago last year.
I didn't meet him. Yeah, you have.
Yeah. He's a good dude.
Yeah,
and I like
smart.
to pick his brain, and I'm always sending him suggestions. I'm texting him, hey, why don't you do this? I can't take credit for the fouling on the floor scenario, but he's always tweaking what he does. And so they'll relook at it. But I thought it was great for him that the NBA adapted the Elam scenario in the All-Star game. Was that just something else or what? I mean, the All-Star game has never ended with such intensity and such drama. And that's really what
They
the
cared.
Elam ending
They never
was
cared.
designed
That.
to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, not only did they care, though, it kept the flow of the game, like you said,
Yes.
Charge. The flow of the game is really important, and that's literally why Nick Elam developed the Elam ending. He was tired of watching the end of games melt down into a free throw contest, a fouling contest, and a stalling contest. You know, the team with the lead is going to stall, take a bad shot at the end of the possession, or get fouled. The team that's trying to come back is going to take the quickest shot available, which may or may not be a good shot, and then it all snowballs because now you got to foul. Even if they make the shot, they're going to foul. There's a free throw shot at one end, quick shot at the other end. It's bad basketball. Now, as in an Elam ending scenario, you keep your starters in the game. You're not clearing them because you still got work to do, right?
No lead
You still got to
safe.
get to that target score. Yeah, no lead safe. So and you still have to run offense. And then on defense, you don't have to foul to stop a clock. There is no clock. You just need to play defense and get stops and shots. That's what good basketball is. Getting a stop at one end and getting a really quality shot at the other. So it keeps the flow of the game going. I love it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Hey, last question for you, because we actually got to get on another call tonight. We're doing a live show, so if you're really, really bored after this, feel free to hop on there. We'll be making some predictions on the next round of games. But, just really impressive resume and how many TBT games you called. So just curious, what is your most memorable TBT game that you personally called, whether it's fun, intense, what was the most memorable game you've been part of?
Yeah, I'd have to go back to the very first year. The year I picked Supernova to win, and they disappointed me because the guy Scotty Reynolds didn't play like he was supposed to. But it was Boeheim's Army versus Gale Nation.
Oh, yeah,
And
I was there.
Boeheim's
That's
Army,
in Brooklyn, right?
Yeah, yes. And they trailed by
a bunch.
Gosh, 25.
We had Nichols on. We had Nichols on last night talking about that.
Yeah. So yeah, it'd have to be that.
Yeah.
And I love Gale Nation. I was hoping they would get in the tournament.
Good squad.
Yeah.
Good squad.
I went to Cedar Grove Academy in Philadelphia.
Okay.
And I was the second guy to get a full scholarship in college basketball. The first guy was a guy named Curtis Chip Langdon in the 80s. And he went to my school, and he was the first guy to get a scholarship. And he got a scholarship at Iona. So I've been following Iona for many years. A.J. English and A.J. English II. His dad played against me at Virginia Union.
Okay.
And, of course, Steve Burt Jr. and his dad played at Iona. And Steve Burt Jr. and Steve Burt Sr. are the top two scorers, both over 2,000 points in Iona history. So, yeah, I mean, I just love that Gale Nation team. And who can forget Scott Machado, who put on a show the other night?
A show.
That guy,
this was this, and then this, and then this. That was
man,
that was insane.
Yeah, he's one of the better players in the tournament this year. So if they make a nice run, I expect him to be an all-tournament team. So, anyways, hey, Tim, I appreciate your time. Why don't you go ahead and close us out, Hainer, and we'll give Tim his time back.
Tim, thanks for coming on tonight. We really appreciate it. And,
man.
Tim Scarborough, lead analyst for Stadium and future lead analyst at ESPN. Thanks for coming on.